Well, there's one hell of a mess going on here. Don't worry, winter is coming to this world. Oh yeah, and everyone is freezing and not moving. And they're gonna be not spared by her evil giggles. Especially you, Zarya, and especially not you, Genji. Oh no, not you. And the area secured. Oh yeah. Let's review Mei, shall we? So, this is Mei. Mei is Bay. Mei is life. And she is a defense hero with 250 health. And her abilities, her damage, all based on one thing. Absolute Sub-Zero. And her main weapon, the Endothermic Blaster, is basically that. It does 45 damage a second with a 10 meter range, and will freeze on contact after 30 hits, and you will be frozen for 1.5 seconds, but that won't be hooked up for long. Because if you freeze more onto them, it's just going to cancel entirely. And she has a lot of ammo to spare too, at 200 rounds, so use a lot of that ammo as possible when it comes to freezing your enemy. And she also has an ult fire to add with your weaponry, and it's called Icicle. Icicle basically fires, well, an icicle. It takes a few moments to charge up and to fire, but you do require 25 ammo in order to use the ability, or ult fire I mean. But it has pretty good damage. 75 damage up close, and then at a distance, 22 damage, which is pretty crappy. But the meters is pretty interesting. You get 26 meters all the way up to 55 meters, which is pretty like in a nice medium range. And it can headshot too. So you can use your Endothermic Blaster to basically freeze your enemy, and you can kill just one of them with just a single Icicle. And that's like half the roster as well. So her first ability is unique. This one is called Ice Wall. In Ice Wall, you can deploy 5 pillars of ice, either vertically or horizontally if you press the ability button again. So, it all has 500 health each, which means you can block a whole bunch of ultimates. And they can last up to 4.5 seconds, or when you want to cancel it, you can just press the ability button again. And it has a 10-second cooldown. You could either use it to block enemies or ultimates, or you can use it to go onto a ledge, like I've shown you earlier, or with this failed attempt as well. So, her other ability, what does that do? Does that make her unique too? Oh my, you have a whole bunch of boo-boos, and there's no health case there. Her ability can help with that. This one is called Cryo Freeze. Cryo Freeze heals about 37.5 health within a second. In max, you'll be going up to 150 health, which will recover most of your health. And you'll be immune to all damage, except for fall damage if you're going to be falling off somewhere. But it lasts for a good old 4 seconds, and it has a 12-second cooldown, as you can see here. And you can use it to block abilities, or if even ultimates come in, you'll be perfectly fine. So, use it as sparingly as you can, or if you're in a tight situation. And her ultimate, oh boy, this is what everyone basically screams at besides her blaster. And lastly, her Endothermic Blaster on steroids, her ultimate. This one is called simply Blizzard. Blizzard, you basically toss the snowball into the line of sight, and it'll be slowing enemies down and freezing them for a good old 5 seconds if they're caught within 2 seconds within that blizzard. It does about 97 damage in total, but you'll be having a 10 meter radius effect. So this is basically the ultimate trollish and slowdown effect, and can basically wipe out a whole bunch of your team if they're nice in a nice little group, or sacked in a nice little group. But let's show how we can play as her first, shall we? In all truthfulness, I have more video footage of Mei gameplay than any other character I had, and she is one of my favorite characters to play in the entire game. So basically, you all have to know this. She's really good when it comes to one-on-one fights, especially against the slower tank heroes. But she's not really good when it comes to 1-on-2, 1-on-3, 1-on-4, then that basically makes her worthless. So, when using the one-on-one fights, block areas to escape via by your ice wall and just spray them with your endothermic blaster. And once they're frozen, aim for the head with an icicle and basically teabag them, and it's gonna be game over for them till they respawn. So if they're in a sticky retreat, use the ice wall or cryo freeze for you in order to retreat. But if you are basically outnumbered and your friends are going to be there, use the ice wall underneath you so you can just simply get away. And use the ice wall to block your team, or not your team, because that'd be a silly way to do it. Block the enemy team from going into like payloads and such, or block ultimates, or use alternate waves for paths for you and your team, so you can flank them on another side. And you can also use the blizzard to freeze your entire enemy team and add ice wall for areas, so in case they want to escape, they're going to be blocked off. And then just quickly finish them off with another ultimate, or just basically shoot them down with your icicle. So she can be a little bit difficult to use, but if you know the basics, you can see why she's basically one of the biggest nightmares within Overwatch. But for me, I think she's yummy. But without further ado, let's do some Mei gameplay.
Keeps burning, we're invited in. The night
Thank you all very much for watching. Be sure to like, favorite, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and be sure to look at my Facebook page down below. Until then, GalacticStorm saying, I'll see you guys later.